I took his job from him that he wanted, and things didn't go as planned, and I got stuck with the job.
Well, hopefully you can tell me that whole story soon.
Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is I want your people to go there. Let them know that I sent you down there. They'll be able to provide you plenty of food.
Oh, okay, we could certainly do that. Well, once the dragon goes past the town, of course we can't head south, because we'll go straight to Tourmaline.
Yeah. Also, where's the thickest part of ice on this lake?
Well, I would imagine the thickest part is probably on the Bremen side.
Alright. I'm gonna go talk with the idiots in Lasha.
And she starts yelling more, and it looks as though the carts are starting to roll out, like people are starting to head north. And she starts to follow them and everything.
Colonel go back and look at everyone. He's like, okay. Did my speaker duty.
And they're all going to be out of the town by the time this gets here?
So anyways, I had a dumb idea. We drown it. Remember what happened when I walked into the water? After, you tried to go for a swim? Like a rock?
How are we going to get it into the water?
Rogar is looking at Suzanne.
Well, I was thinking I'd stand up there, call a bunch of names, and see what happened.
Suzanne may be of help to lure it out there, and I think Suzanne actually might be a silver dragon. And if that's the case, like me, it is less affected by the cold.
Well, we can both go out there.
Yes, it is. As they say in the sports world, the Hail Mary.
I would be more comfortable if we could heal up a bit before it gets here.
Well, apparently the thickest part of the ice is near Bremen, so we may have to say goodbye to Lonelywood.
It is a shame we never got to open our inn. And Virian, did you ever send that letter to get our insurance?
Yes. It's in the mail.
If he says yes, I trust you implicitly.
Virian will crumple up the paper and throw it away so he destroys all the evidence.
Yeah, it's a flashback to you throwing the letter into the water.
So Haggard, as he's leading the villagers, he's following the carts with him as he headed up north into the forest. He walks over to the group of you, and he's got 4 people behind him, and he says to you all, "Well, these are my 4 best. At least they're the 4 that I don't think will run as soon as they see the dragon. I don't know much good they're gonna do, but if you can all at least just give us some time to get away, that's the best we can hope for."
So you're providing us with sacrifices?
Well,
let's not frame it like that.
Look at these men.
Exactly, it is.
These men are trained soldiers prepared for war, and by Bahamut's hand, they will strike true against our enemy. And I'm saying this as I look at them and realize that these are probably like the least drunk members of the guards crew tonight.
And as far as the gear that these folks are in, they're probably wearing 2 or 3 layers of furs, and that's the best armor they have. They're carrying what are obviously, self-made spears, so they're wood with like some very crude, tips made out of metal. What seems to be their only weapons, and in fact, one guy has like a club that he's wearing at his belt. They don't have anything else. They don't have any arrows or crossbows or anything like that.
Well, you four are gonna die.
Can I make a check with Rogar? Maybe like an insight check to see if I really think these soldiers have any sort of chance of helping us?
Sure. Probably for you also, it's like an insight. Oh, wow. Okay, with the 21, they are probably good at fighting off bandits, which is what they did before. You remember when bandits attacked Lonelywood, they tried to fight them off, but then like these guys wouldn't die. So the guards here are probably good at handling those sorts of things. But you remember when you heard about the moose and Nimsy sent you all after it, she mentioned that the guards at Lonelywood really couldn't handle something like that. So if they couldn't handle a moose, they're not going to be too useful against a dragon. They don't have the equipment for this at all.
I think Rogar also has the soldier background. He served as part of the town guard, and that's as he was coming up. So he probably recognizes that these soldiers are not prepared for this kind of fight.
When the dragon shows itself, if they don't break and run, it'll be a surprise to you.
So I think Rogar will look to them and then look to Marshall and say, on second thought, I think we've decided to go with a different tactic, and we do not require your friends here. They will be of better use protecting the citizens of Lonelywood.
I'm sure they'll be grateful for that, but if what we've heard is true, they may not be having an easier time, but I could always use the help.
Remember, town is not made by its buildings, it is made by its people.
Well, my town is made by the people who make the buildings, thus making it.
Guardian, I'm trying to be inspiring and instill just a little bit of hope.
No. You're all gonna have to run within an hour.
Hopefully sooner than that, so they can get a bit of distance.
Yes. As I told Speaker Nimsy, you're all welcome at good mead as I'm the speaker there, so, hi.
And within a few minutes, I'd say the rest of the guards head off with Nimsy and the marshal. They head north into the forest. So unless anyone's going to stop them, that is pretty much all the villagers that you can see are evacuating the town. There are still many that are in the water, but it looks like they're all making their way south or southwest, so probably towards Bremen or Targos, perhaps.
Well,
So what is the plan exactly?
me and Susan stay on some ice, have the dragon come down, you guys break the ice, we all sink. Susan can swim. Dragon's gone then.
Easy peasy.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, while we prepare, can we take 10 minutes and hopefully we will feel a little bit better? If everybody is fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna travel down a bit closer to Bremen anyways.
Great. So as we are on the boat over to Bremen, I suppose, I'm going to cast Prayer of Healing because we need it.
Why don't you do that roll
for any potions?
No, you have not had any potions now.
Potions.
There's
Potions.
Did we steal some liquor from the Battle Hammer Hall? Maybe that'll heal.
You can get boozed up. That's an approach, yeah.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Is that the best?
Two.
Oh.
Oh my god.
So, is this good? Is this
Well,
bad?
well worth the 3rd level spell slot.
Hey, it's something.
Oh, that is the 3rd level. Okay. Oh, I thought the 2 was the spell slot you were using. Didn't realize that the 2 was the. Oh, wow. Okay.
Nope. We get 12 HP for all of you lovely people.
Woo! 34 out of 75.
It'll help.
Suzanne's
And
head
just
suddenly
for you,
snapped.
Josh, this takes me longer than 10 minutes. I take a good 15 minutes on this
Okay.
just to make sure that it was done right.
What's the prayer that Laja is saying? You don't have to go into too many details, just the general.
Laja is, and the others probably would not be able to understand this because she will be praying in Dwarvish because that is her native tongue. And she is, I guess, somewhat desperately begging for assistance in this whole deal that they're going through.
Question for you, GM.
Yes,
We hit level 6. That means we have 1 additional hit dice now,
correct.
right? I'm using that.
I will give, you guys in 15 minutes. I mean, that's stretching it for a short rest, but I would give you a short rest and you'd have 1 hit die. Yeah, that's friendly. Yeah.
I hadn't actually used all mine from in Battle Hammer Hole. I used the ones I saved.
Yeah, of course. We can call it a short rest. Yeah.
I'm sure it will take longer to get over to wherever we're going in the middle of this big mass of water.
People and your hit dice think you're so much better than all of us cursed people out here.
So tell me the plan again. Are you all getting on a boat and heading into the water? Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
The thick ice that I think you might be thinking of that you could stand on is actually on the Bremen side, and it would take probably a few hours of rowing to actually get over there.
Let me just see something. Are we mounted on a boat?
You can probably find a boat and then start paddling.
Well, I'm just asking if like, how is the wording for the boat? Is it like, are we mounted on the boat? I'm just looking at the wording for the aspect of the beast.
No, you could not use aspect of the beast on the boat. No, I'll let you stretch it a lot, but that's going too far.
I like the hustle to try and make it happen, though.
Yeah, we're mounted up on a boat.
Mounted on a boat. I
Guardians
wonder
of
where you
the
were
Okay,
going with
but
that.
imagine, Guardian is not only a snowplow, he is a boat's motor.
He's
going
the
so
figurehead.
fast.
That is.
Doggy paddles.
I can't believe that. No, I'm sorry.
He's got like a whip or something, and he's whipping all of you to row faster. Like that's the closest it would get to, but no, that's
He's got the chain.
that's a little too much.
It's like the scene from Incredibles.
Yeah.
When when Helen's the boat.
But at about this time, Suzanne's head pops up and turns to the east, and she says to you through your mind link, Rogar, she says, "Mother, it's coming. I can hear it."
Well, friends, it appears that Suzanne can tell our enemy is approaching.
Hello?
And Suzanne says through your mind link, Rogar, she says, "I will take my claws and tear into it, bite its wings and draw it to the ground. And then we can tear it limb from limb.
I approve of the enthusiasm, Suzanne. But I think our plan is to pull it into the water, where it may be more susceptible to damage.
But Mother, I am smaller. I am faster. I can bring it down from the sky.
Guys, Suzanne is very confident that she can bring down this mechanical dragon.
Well, how about I get on the ice, taunt it, see what happens, and then she can attack from the top, bring it down. While that's happening, you guys break the ice.
It's going to take us a while to get towards the section of the ice where it's thick enough to do this. Do we have enough time to get there?
Suzanne, do you understand the concept of time?
The light in the morning, and the light goes away.
So not really, not yet. You very quickly, you're going to be very much smarter than I am.
Time is just a human construct there, Mother. It is neither past, present, or future. It all happens at once.
Guardian, could you take a boat into the harbor here at Lonelywood? The waters are still very cold here. And maybe Suzanne can try to bring Dragon down on your boat.
It'll have to be deep enough waters.
Did you sink far enough to get to the bottom when you sank?
No, we didn't let him go that far.
Did he sink enough for it to be does he have a understanding of how deep it was?
I think when you were closer to Bremen and Guardian fell off the boat, there were a few seconds that he was in the water, and then I can't remember how you all caught him and got him out of the water. I don't remember. Maybe it was Elijah helping. I can't remember the specifics, but Guardian didn't make it to the bottom, and he wasn't in there very long, which was sort of key because in the freezing conditions, you die very quickly. But a second passes, and Suzanne digs her back feet into the snow, and she says, Mother, I will take to the sky. I will use my very sharp claws to rend its slow wings and drive it to the ground, and you can push it into the ice, and then we can tear it apart.
Wait, slow wings. What do you mean by this?
It is big and slow, and I am small and fast.
I'm just looking for a boat now.
Well, Suzanne, if you can bring down this cold one into the lake here, near where my friend Guardian will be, maybe we will have a chance. But really, I'm putting a lot of faith in you, and I really don't want you to get hurt.
Putting you all on this ginormous map, but you hear it sounds sort of like a low wind that slowly picks up more and more and more, and then it sounds like something swiftly flying overhead, but you can't really make it out. And then when you look up, you see the only details that you can really see is like it's completely and totally black. And that's only because the blues and the greens in the sky sort of highlight that, but it's mostly black and then reflecting some of the colors. But you don't really have, at least at this distance, it's probably 100 feet up in the air. You can't see more details, but you do see the black dragon flying towards Lonelywood. And yeah, that's where we start. And if everybody can roll initiative for me, and somebody could get Suzanne, I would appreciate it.
I got it.
The trend of always having a low roll. Yay. Oh, the Chardalyn dragon.
The dragon gets a 1. I think did we get one for Suzanne?
Yeah, it'd be a 3.
3. I think the first one up is Virion. Virion, you see, like I said, probably 100 feet up in the air is the black dragon, and it looks like it's flying into the area of Lonelywood.
Virion is going to knock an arrow and try and get its attention, I guess, and just fire one off and see what happens.
So am I on the lake then?
You have not had time to do that. And Virion just crit, so.
Thought that was the plan.
So the dragon's dead. Perfect. No need to go through the battle.
Yeah. If you read the ranger special thing you just got, it says if you crit against a creature you hate, you kill it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Sorry, it's in the rules there.
Yeah, that sounds right. But Guardian, to answer your question, you didn't have enough time to really put your plan in motion before the dragon got here. And that's mostly because of the rest you guys took. You didn't have that much time to begin with, but that and then the time getting the plan together is when the dragons arrived.
I don't know why we ever bother making plans.
It's nice to talk it out. And Virion will draw back another arrow with his longbow and take a shot, and I'm assuming that is not going to hit.
Yeah, that one misses. The first one you shoot, though, let's see, it's 15 total.
Is it 15 total plus penguins?
Yeah, it would be. I just want to know what Josh is going to say next, because I fear my arrow won't do much damage.
It doesn't. So what happens is the arrow flies up, you strike the dragon, and you hear a crack as the arrow breaks into pieces.
All right, perfect. As the arrow breaks, my penguins shoot out of the tip of it and try to snack on the dragon for 3 nibble damage.
This is important. What kind of damage is it?
It's piercing.
Yeah.
Okay. They're very far away, and it's very dark and difficult to see, but it looks like the penguins try to peck, maybe above the shoulder of the dragon, and then one by one they fall off and disappear before they reach the ground. But they seem to not have phased the dragon at all.
Not my little nibbly boys. And Virion is going to use his movement to 5, 10, 15. Take some shelter under a tree.
Very smart move. It takes us to Guardian.
I'm just going to move on to the ice. Boop.
Guardian, when you step on the ice, give me a dexterity acrobatics check, please.
Oh, come on.
Good news, I have advantage, because barbarian.
You
probably fails.
You manage to keep your balance as you step on the ice. It's very slick. However, as soon as you step on it, you probably make it, you make it about like that far. So, maybe 25, 30 feet away from the shore, from the the snowy shore. As you're walking on the ice, you hear crack, crack, and you see when your feet are stepping on the ice, small cracks are forming where your feet are touching it.
I double move, so that's all I can do.
Takes us to Suzanne.
So I think the plan is for Suzanne to fly up and try to somehow grapple this thing and bring it closer to the ground and eventually onto the ice.
Okay. So I think, Rogar, you probably want to jump off Suzanne before you do this, right? Because she can't fly with you riding her.
Oh, yeah. I've been off Suzanne for a while.
Okay.
It's easier to, hand talk when you're not riding a creature.
So let's see, with Suzanne's flight speed of 60 feet, so the dragon is 100 feet up, and then a considerable distance over. So it's about 170 feet away. So she could fly over to it and then maybe start to fly up if she does 2 moves, but I don't think she'll be able to grapple this turn.
I think she would fly, kind of try to come in behind it so she can drive it down. But yeah, so she'll spend this turn setting it up.
One of the other entries beside, like say maybe the blue box, I'm going to put her distance up so we can keep track of that. So would you say if she does 2 moves, that would put her 80 feet up in the air? Does that sound good?
I think if move and dash, she could probably go 60 feet up and 60 feet towards the dragon.
Okay.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Oh yeah, there's a ruler. Why am I not using that? So to maybe there. So she's 60 feet up and 60 feet.
So she's still slightly under the dragon as it's flying over her, but yeah, she's working on a maneuver to go under and then like fly back over behind it. But that takes us to Laja.
Okay, I am going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can move 5. And let me see how far away I am. Beautiful. I am going to, since I have both of them, I'm going to use one of my channel divinities just to see if I can get a little bit of damage on this terrible creature. So that will be a DC 15 Constitution.
Unfortunately, Laja, I do have to remind you that the dragon is not only 30 feet away, but also 100 feet up.
No, I forgot about that. Never mind.
He is not on the
Screw
ground
that.
yet.
I am here where I am.
Okay.
And I will use the dodge action. That's a good action to use. I forgot we're working in 3D space here.
Yeah, there's not a good way to represent it here, unfortunately. Okay, we'll take us to Rogar.
I'm really not sure what to do here. And most of that's because I don't know what that breath weapon looks like. So I think Rogar will move to here. So he's within 10 feet of Laja. And he will prepare an attack with a hand axe in case it gets within, 20 feet? Actually, he'll prepare an action with his breath weapon in case it comes within 15 feet.
Okay.
But if Laja needs to make any saves while I'm within 10 feet, she gets a +3.
So moving on to the dragon. And what the dragon does is it completely ignores what you did before, Virion. And as it flies over the buildings of the town, it triggers its breath weapon. And what it is it's not fire. It's like a golden beam of extremely bright light comes out of the mouth of this thing and just starts demolishing the houses in Lonelywood. And now the map actually kind of represents the situation a little better. As it makes its way, it's heading from east to west, kind of across this path. It's sweeping its head back and forth, and it's just completely like obliterating the buildings as it's doing that.
Would you describe the damage as disintegration?
It's not disintegration because you see debris.
Okay, good. I feel a little bit better about that.
It's definitely not a fire, though. It's something else. And I should say, because of the things as it's hitting the houses are not catching on fire. That's pretty key. But as far as its movement, it's going to move. I also should use the ruler. It's going to move 60 feet across. And in the process, it dies 50 feet. So it's 50 feet up now. And it takes us to Virion.
Okay. I don't really know what I can do if my arrows aren't going to do much against him here, or anything. And no spell slots. I think Virion's just gonna hide as he's extremely paranoid still. He's just gonna hug the tree and hope that the dragon doesn't spot him for this turn, and I guess prepare. Actually, no, the hide would be his action, right? So that would be it.
Okay.
That's about it.
That'll take us to Guardian.
I'm just waiting for him to get pushed into the lake, I guess. Yep.
And Guardian, as you stand on the ice, around your feet again, you hear more noises and the cracks. Like it's sort of like when glass starts to break. There's a small crack and it like snakes into a bigger crack, and there are smaller ones branching off of it. That's what you see happening around your feet.
I'm going with the plan that's gonna help keep everyone alive because we have nothing left. We're literally on fumes. So.
Guess that takes us to Suzanne.
So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 to get to here. And then 10 down. And Suzanne will attempt to kind of, I guess, tackle the dragon forward and down and try to push it down, hopefully into the ice, but it might just be on the ground, but hopefully something.
Well, let's do this first. She's going to need to do a grapple check, so that's opposed rolls there. Yeah, for her, it's got to be a strength athletics, and the opposed check from the Chardalyn dragon can be strength athletics or dex acrobatics. I think I'm going to go with strength. So we just got to do an opposed check, and if she grapples, then she can bring it down, and she'd have to drag it to the ice, basically, because it's not over the ice.
Yeah, Suzanne only has a +2 in this.
I rolled a 13. She's got it.
And I think that's the move. I think Suzanne has roughly 10 feet of movement left. So starts pushing, kind of carrying the dragon's momentum and pushing it towards the water.
So if she used 10 feet of her movement, she's got it grappled. She's pushing it down. It's now 40 feet above the ground. And then she can drive it down.
I think we're going vertical, not horizontal.
Yeah, so you're going straight down, right?
No, I want to try to get it over the ice if I can first.
Oh. Okay, yeah. So what she could do is 10 feet, just move everybody 10 feet over. Like that.
And Rorgar shouts, Suzanne, you're doing it. Congratulations.
The way she's done this is she's probably came from the top, landed on its back, and she's actually trying to wrap her tail and her arms and legs like around it to try to like surround its wings so that it's forced down. Because it's considerably larger than she is.
That's my little girl.
Taking us to Laja.
You know what I'm gonna do? Why not? I'm just gonna sacred flame the dragon. Because a little bit of something. While Susanna's moving it.
And you know what? It failed.
6 damage. And I'm gonna use my movement because that is a good thing to do since we are fighting a dragon.
Your Sacred Flame, the Laja, when it strikes the dragon, it doesn't seem to have much of an impact. In fact, as it starts to coalesce into damage onto the neck of the dragon, it just quickly fades away.
Well, now we know at least. So that'll be my turn.
Okay, taking us on to Rorgar.
Rorgar is going to just continue to stay within 10 feet of Laja in case she needs to make a saving throw. Going out on the ice with Guardian seems like it would be a bad idea. I think Virian's skilled enough that he's completely hidden from view for me. And I can't get up high enough to help Suzanne, so this is it. I'll hold my breath, weapon, in case the dragon gets within 15 feet.
So what? I think we're going to do the dragon next. So what the dragon does is it actually snakes its head around, faces directly at Suzanne, and at first it unleashes its malevolent presence on Suzanne. So if someone could roll for me a wisdom saving throw for me, please. Unfortunately, that is not enough. So what the dragon does is it's kind of used its presence to take hold of Suzanne's mind, and immediately it forces her to let go of it. And Suzanne's just kind of hovering in the air. She flaps her wings as the Chardalyn dragon is no longer grappled by it. But what it's also going to do with the remainder of its move, because its action was doing that malevolent presence, is it actually lands on the ground. Here. Suzanne is still like 60 feet up in the air, I think we said.
No, 50.
50?
50.
But the dragon is on the ground. "35 feet away, Virian, is a large Chardalyn dragon hanging out on the ground."
Okay. Jesus. Why can't this be straightforward? I guess Virian's gonna see Suzanne and become inspired that if this small dragon can take on this ginormous dragon, he might be able to help out in some way. And he's going to charge the dragon and attack with his Moonblade.
23 will hit.
All right.
Oh, is this our first time hitting it with a magic weapon?
Unlike your arrows, it seems as though your sword, when it strikes the dragon, has no problem at all and leaves a long slash on the side of it.
Then Virion will continue slashing with that Moonblade, hopefully.
Same roll, 23 also works.
For another 4 damage. And the penguins will come out, do nothing, but it's a good look for them to nibble some dragon neck.
Again, the penguins don't seem to do much to it, and it kind of does a turn, and the penguins fly off and disappear before they hit the ground.
You bastard.
I believe takes us to Guardian.
Yeah, I guess he's still sticking with the plan. Like, Susan's gonna be kicking this thing over to our side onto the lake, so.
As you stand there, Guardian, a piece of ice just to the right of your right foot breaks off and sinks into the cold water.
Well, that's making the ice easier for Chardalyn Dragon to break it when it gets on here.
And if that's you, Guardian, that'll take us to Suzanne. I will
It might be easier for Guardian to literally chain the thing and pull it. Looking at Suzanne's stats.
That's what I'm waiting for, is to get onto the ice so I can keep pulling it further and further.
I think you can't grapple something that's 2 sizes larger than you, though.
I think the Guardian counts as large for a lot of that stuff.
If you count as large, that changes it, Guardian, but
I don't know about. I don't know.
I only count as, well, if I took the aspect of the bear, I'd count as, for carrying capacity, as a size larger.
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to change the plan, Guardian, just let me know. Otherwise, I was going to move on to Suzanne.
No, you already moved to Suzanne.
Okay. With Suzanne, I need somebody to do a wisdom saving throw again from her.
I'll do it.
10 is not going to do it.
Can I burn my inspiration point to roll again?
You certainly can. Believe it or not, a 14 is not good enough.
No, I believe it.
So Suzanne is just forced to hover there. She looks kind of stunned.
I can't even get close enough to give her the boost that I can give people now.
That takes us to Laja. Laja, in front of you, you see Virion engage the dragon on the ground.
I'm going to be engaged with the dragon on the ground, except I'm going to throw my hammer because I can. Oh, well, it comes back.
Unfortunately, a 9 will miss.
That's what I could do. I could move more, but I don't want to get too far away.
It takes us to Rorgar.
Well, Rorgar doesn't have a magic weapon. So Rorgar, well, if I'm here, am I within base-to-base contact?
Yeah, as long as it's because it's so large. Yeah, as long as your token is like touching one of the squares that its token's in, like
Okay.
yeah, like here, then yeah, you're adjacent.
I will use my breath, 15 feet cone, so it'll only hit the dragon.
Okay.
So it's a DC 12 check for the dragon.
As you let out your cold breath, the cold hits the dragon and does no visible damage to it at all.
Try something.
Mm-hmm. That's a big hint.
At least we're learning things that don't work.
What about slashing? Will slashing work?
Elijah, why don't you give me another one of those insight checks, please?
Did say no visible damage.
Elijah, you can also recall that if the dwarves built this thing to fly through the cold, to exist in these conditions, because it was built after the curse of the Frost Maiden, so like this permanent winter. This thing was built after that, and if they built it to fly through the air and to do all that it's going to do, it's very likely that it is impervious to cold, because otherwise it couldn't function. Like Suzanne is also able to fly in the air because she's resistant to cold also. So this thing is either resistant or probably completely immune to cold.
I don't know if our plan of getting it under the water is gonna necessarily do the trick. I'm yelling over the Guardian. Hopefully he listens.
I think that takes us to the dragon. This is going to be kind of nasty. So the dragon first turns to Virion, and it makes a swipe with its claws. How's a 14?
That'll hit.
That's 14 damage slashing.
And that is bye-bye Virion.
And then it turns with another claw attack to you, Rorgar. How's a 22? That's if that hits, that's a 14 slashing for you as well.
14 damage. All right, I'll take it. I agree.
And then it flips around and swipes its tail at you, Rorgar. For 28.
Yes.
That is 18 bludgeoning.
I'm still up yet.
And then Laja, I am so sorry. It raises its wings up in the air, and it slams them down and sends a burst of cold air at you. How's an 18?
Yeah, that hits.
For 12 cold damage.
Okay.
And then, with its move, it springs up into the air, which will allow you to make an attack of opportunity, Rorgar, if you'd like.
Please, thank you.
13
Okay.
will not hit.
Never mind.
It jumps up 60 feet into the air. I think that takes us to Virion.
Sorry.
I can hardly hear you, Virion, but okay, there you go. Death save.
There you go. That is a fail.
That's not a good one. Moving us on to Guardian. So Guardian, you know at this point, this is fairly obvious. If you stay on this ice, your next turn, you're going to be in the water.
And we found out now that it's probably not going to work anyways. Why do we make plans? All I can do is move 40 feet. So.
Give me a deck save as you're moving across the ice, please.
Oh, I'm going to fail this.
Oh, you make it. You make it.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
Taking us to Suzanne, if she can do the whiz save for me, please.
Okay.
And a 19 actually works. She manages to shake her head free of whatever charm that the dragon had on it. And she sees it, it's now above her. And it's kind of flying upwards. So with that, she can actually take her whole turn.
How high did the dragon go?
It went straight up 60 feet.
I guess Suzanne will go up the 10 feet and try to grab the dragon and bring it back down.
Let's do that opposing rolls again. I got a 17. And she tries to latch onto it, but it could be by the speed that it went up into the air, or perhaps it kind of knows her game, but she's not able to get a hold of it to grab it again. I think if she went 10 feet up, that puts her on the same level, 60 feet and 60 feet. Moving on to Laja.
Okay, so how high up is this dragon?
Both dragons are 60 feet up.
Okay. Let me see. In which case, if I go over here for 5, I'm gonna bring back up Virian because we need him very badly. Oh my god, my higher level casts are so bad today. Have 7 HP.
All he needs is 1.
I appreciate it.
And I think that moves us on to Vorgar.
Yeah, that's everything I can do.
I got nothing. I guess Burger will look towards everyone else and are we staying?
Silence is confirmation, I guess. I guess we're staying.
Rorgar will move. What? Shit. What direction is the next town?
That way to the southwest.
I can't go by water. I think Rorgar will start 5, 10. Rorgar's going to move to there. There's literally nothing he can do right now. But that at least leaves him close enough if somehow the dragon's brought down.
The dragon turns towards the southwest and begins to flap its wings away. This gives Suzanne 1 attack of opportunity. She goes to take a bite, but the dragon is just too fast, and it moves very quickly away. It's like it's flying towards Brimmen, just sort of abandoning the town of Lonelywood to the destruction that it's already caused. So what we'll do is one more turn, and if no one gets into melee range with it, I will say the dragon gets away.
Of something that's 60 feet in the air, none of us can get in melee range.
Well, Suzanne can.
Isn't she frightened?
She broke out of it.
Suzanne just failed in her last try to bring down the dragon.
But also, she's not smart. She's not smart and she's cocky. Maybe she will try.
But moving on, I think Virion, it's your turn. You see the dragon. It's turned away from Lonelywood and it's flying to the southwest.
I don't think there's a way I can do anything unless I try and shoot it, but that has been unsuccessful. I guess I'll try knocking an arrow and just see if we can get its attention to come back towards us.
19 will hit.
So I'm sure the damage does nothing. It just bounces off them, but really wasting these good
26 will
rolls.
definitely hit.
Another 4. And the little penguins will come out and attack. And I assume at least one of the penguins is sentient enough to say, hey, why don't you come back and fight these guys, huh? See?
Perhaps he says it in Penguin, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have an effect on the dragon as the dragon continues in its direction. And all the penguins, as they plummet, from 60 feet up in the air before they hit the ice, they vanish to go wherever the penguins are going when they go away.
That's fair.
Unless Virion's going to move, I think that takes us to Guardian.
I'm just gonna jump into the ice and sink. I can't do anything. So pass turn.
Okay.
Get within 10 feet of me in case there's some crazy save you have to make.
So I think the decision that Suzanne has to make at this point is she going to try to chase it or is she going to let it go?
I think Suzanne will give it one more try to grapple it.
Okay.
Like our plan was to pull it into the lake, and I don't know if Suzanne is aware that it's immune to the damage of the water. So Suzanne will move up and attempt one more try, one final time.
I rolled a 17. Unfortunately, with a 5.
There you go, Suzanne.
A 5 isn't going to do it. And Suzanne, you can feel her frustration. A 16. What I roll? I roll a 17. Yep, that won't do it either.
Should we just burn all of our inspiration hoping this will happen?
It's going to destroy another town.
I feel like it's not going to happen.
Hey, just because it's immune to the damage doesn't mean it won't freeze.
More inspiration.
Well, are you okay with me rolling again?
Sure.
Do it.
Ahead. Yeah, it's okay. 7 will not do it.
And then I guess we have one final one.
Please,
Nope.
Suzanne.
13 will not do it. Sorry.
Only a +2. It's not Suzanne's fault.
I don't get why we got in this fight.
She tries everything that she has. Like, she tries to actually throw herself at it. And each time, she either bounces off from it because it's just too powerful, or she goes to wrap her claws around it and it just kicks her away with a wing or tail or something. But after several attempts, she just can't she can't grapple it like she could before, and the dragon continues to fly. So what we'll do is say Laja or Rorgar if there's something you want to do. Otherwise, the dragon will get away.
I have one thing.
Okay.
So Rorgar in Draconic will yell, "Ah, Iron Dragon! Your master is dead. Why don't you stop this reign of terror?"
Perhaps a very strong insult, but the dragon seems to be immune to those, and it continues on its way. Laja, is there anything you want to try to do here before it makes it away?
I don't think there's anything I can do from where I am.
At least call it an asshole.
I don't think so. I don't think that Laja would do that, but I'm certainly doing that myself.
And unfortunately, that takes us out of combat as the dragon makes its way southwest. And
in a way that's kind of a mercy.
And Suzanne,
this is
after
how we end the campaign, we just let the dragon destroy all the towns.
After a few minutes, Suzanne returns. She lands, and you can just feel the disappointment radiating off of her, Rorgar. She says, "Mother, I'm so sorry. The cold one was faster than I thought. It's too hard to grab. It must be the cold. It must be the cold."
Young one, little one, it's okay. I think if we had all had the time to prepare properly, this would have been easy peasy. But sometimes you fail, and that's okay.
I can chase it. I think I'm faster. My wings are better. And she opens her wings. See how glorious my wings are?
And they are glorious. Look at mine. You can't even see them because of the armor I wear. They hide my wings. But you will be better. I think you will be better served staying with us for our next encounter with this beast.
She kind of lowers her head. I will try harder next time, Mother.
I think he cut out there.
She says that she will try harder next time. Oh, can you hear me?
It looks like he might have disconnected accidentally.
Hello?
Hello, welcome back.
Yeah, it cut out there for a sec.
What Suzanne said is that she will try harder next time. And it leaves you now in the abandoned town of Lonelywood. Well, I'd say a good, maybe fourth of it had been destroyed by the dragon as it was blowing in. But there's still the majority of the town's fine.
What about our inn? Is our inn still okay?
Oh, you know what? No, actually.
What?
The southern part of town where it came in from, it was actually where your inn was. So I think one of the damaged buildings is your inn. It's still standing, but it's... why don't we say it's this building here?
Garn's is gonna find a building, go inside, find the closest, warmest corner to some burning fire, and he's just gonna go into sentry mode.
I guess if Guardian just storms off, Rorgar will try to meet up with everyone else. And friends, I don't know how to proceed here. I know we all want to make sure we save as many lives as possible, but in our current condition, I don't believe we have a chance at stopping this creature.
We're pretty depleted. I'm fainting every possible chance I get. I haven't slept in days.
That is strange to say, but because I believe you made like 5 or 6 like perfect shots on that mechanical dragon, and I think your eyes were closed.
I'm in a constant rolling blackout.
So then what are we going to do for now? Do we just rest up and try to make our way towards wherever it's headed by the time we wake up?
As a long shot, Rogar will close his eyes and pray, and Bahamut, I do not know how to act. I do not know what to do. Please guide me.
Suzanne, who'd still been watching, where the dragon flew to, because you could tell she really wants to go after it. She hates letting it go. She says, mentally to you, Rogar, she says, many of the ones from town are headed to the big town to the south.
The big town to the south. I'm not from here, so I'm not immediately sure what you mean.
I think they told us that they were headed to Brinshander. That is a couple of towns away from where it's headed next.
Yes, and maybe we can make a last stand there. Maybe if this town is big enough, it will have some people strong enough to help us. Do we think we could take a rest and get to Brinshander in time?
So to show you all the map. So from Lonelywood, it would be about 7 hours before you factor in Guardian speed. So, 3.5 hours. So it's pretty fast. Now, depends how long you want to rest. If you did like 8 hours, you're talking about 11.5 hours. Yeah, who knows? It's hard to say. You saw that it quickly made work of, some of the buildings in Lonelywood. It probably spent around 6 hours in Tourmaline before it wiped it out. So if it takes that much time at each town, you would have enough time, to actually get to Brinshander before it does. If it somehow moves faster or, there are other conditions, then who could say?
Maybe we should go to Brinshander, and then, if possible, we could try to rest up and get our abilities back.
I think that's the best option. Head there first, then rest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll try to see where Guardian is. Guardian, he appears to be not here. And I think I'll go look for that.
Elijah will yell, "Guardian!" and hopefully he will answer, but he probably won't because he's in low power mode.
Yep, he is in whatever sentry mode. Yeah, he ain't responding.
So yeah, I think we go to get him, and we say what we just said to each other to him.
Yeah, no response. He's just like a statue right now.
Oh. Well, do we go without him? How do we wake him up?
Before we move on, though, there is one particular detail. So you all are kind of going around talking to each other. And I guess Guardian, you went into one of the houses you said that had a fire.
Yep, went right into Sentry's Rest.
There probably weren't too many of those. So moving us back here.
What if he didn't mean a fire like a fireplace? He meant a fire like the building is on fire. Just a little bit.
The dragon didn't do that, though.
Unfortunately, fortunately,
you're
the dragon's breath didn't actually set anything on fire. But you're all talking, and you hear kind of it sounds like an animal snorting. And as you turn, you glance back, you see walking down the street is a large figure that you've kind of seen before. And it's the moose. At least it looks like the moose, but something is different now. The shape of the moose is not entirely as solid and formed as it was before. It's actually kind of glowing with the light. And the light is it's a pale blue light that doesn't really shed much actual visual light itself. But there's a deep cold that you can all feel far away from it. And Virion, your sword actually begins to buzz as this moose makes its way down the abandoned streets of Lonelywood. And it's headed right for you.
I have a bad feeling about this moose. My sword's giving me the old buzzy feels. And that has usually resulted in a bad time.
Rogar will actually go to Suzanne and mount on top of Suzanne and watch. And kind of sneak forward and
it's at this point we need to roll some initiative. Guardian, so how would you like to play this? Is Guardian just out for the encounter, or would he wake up?
I think with the frustration of everything that's been happening, he's out.
Okay. Suzanne is a 9, it looks like.
Yeah.
And when you know, it's Virion again.
Virion is going to start off by taking 2 shots with the longbow.
21 hits.
The first one, 8. And second one.
And 11 misses, though.
So the penguins will swarm at the site of the first shot for another 1 damage. And Virion is going to run back to his hiding tree. And that will be his turn.
The difference, though, in this situation is it appears as though your arrow actually does something to the moose. So it strikes it, and it doesn't seem to be completely... it's partially transparent, or you can see some of the buildings behind it, but the arrow does stick into its shoulder and stays there. And the penguins do their thing before they disappear, and it does actually seem to have affected the moose in some way.
Virion, seeing this, will shout back at everyone, "It looks like attacking this one actually does something."
So it charges at you, Laja. And it attacks you first with its antlers. How's a 9?
Nope.
And then it attacks you with one of its hooves. 13. And then the second one, unfortunately, is a crit. So first of all, did the 13
so the
hit?
Second one would. 13 wouldn't. Second one would.
Okay, so the second one does 9 bludgeoning and 4 cold. And if you can give me a strength saving throw, please. Unfortunately, with a 9, that does not succeed, and the moose knocks you prone as it's charged you and attacked you. And that takes us to you.
Well, luckily it's my turn, so I will spend half my movement getting up, so I'm not prone anymore. And then I'm going to attack with my fancy dancy forge hammer, except I'm gonna not throw it because why do that if I'm right here? So I'm just gonna attack with it normally. A 12?
Unfortunately, just misses.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I think that takes us to Rorgar. So Rorgar, by the rules, we're going to treat Suzanne as sentient. So you might want to flip. We can actually flip the initiative order because you probably want Suzanne to go before you. So like she's not going to go on your turn. She has her own whole turn. If you're on her, you kind of want her to move first, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Since we're both on the same initiative, can I just do Suzanne first?
Yeah, in this case, yeah, we can. In the future, though, if Suzanne rolls after you, it's going to get a little weird, but that's just what happens with riding her. Sometimes she could go slowly, and then you just have to wait for her. But since you rolled it together in the same score, you can shift places with her.
So Suzanne will move up to here. Drags Rorgar with her. And Suzanne will take a bite attack.
20 hits. Yeah, she takes a bite down and gets, a part of the moose, and it lets out like sort of a squeal as it tries to get away.
Before Virion shot at this reawakened moose, did it appear to be like violent or aggressive towards us?
Yeah, I was getting ready to charge Laja as Virion was shooting at it. Yep.
Okay, so no hard feelings. So Rorgar on his turn will just make 2 attacks with his battle axe.
Okay. 21 hits. And so does a 25.
Wow, we keep rolling so poorly for this stuff.
I think that moves on to Virion.
All right. I guess from the coward's tree, I'm going to take 2 more shots with the longbow.
Yeah, 27 hits.
For 9 damage on the first one.
25 too.
And there's 6, and my little penguin buddies jump out for another 5.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be affecting the most as you hit it with both arrows, and the penguins kind of strike and slash at it.
And then back to cowering under the tree.
But on the moose's turn, there's a lantern, somewhere off screen, like over here, that falls to the ground, and it was just a light, to light up a part of the street. And it's probably some of the damage caused by the dragon as it was blowing through, messed up the pole that it was hanging onto. Anyway, it falls to the ground, and when it falls, it bursts, and the oil that was inside the lantern makes like a little stream onto the ground, and then that catches on fire. So there's like a 3-foot stretch of flame burning. The moose actually looks away from all of you at the flame, pauses for a second, and then turns back and makes a go at you, Laja.
Okay.
First with its antlers, 10 I'm sure will miss, and then twice with its hooves, a 17, and then unfortunately another crit.
Both of those hit.
So the 17 is 9 bludgeoning and 4 cold, and the crit, oh boy, the crit is 18 bludgeoning and 2 cold.
I'm down.
So, Laja, you can make a roll for us.
Oh no.
Well, it takes us to Suzanne.
This is a really bad day. I guess Suzanne will just attack.
Crit, yep, that'll do it. 10 piercing and 6 cold.
And Rorgar, if we allow this, will jump off of Suzanne to here.
Yeah, you can use, I believe, half of your movement to mount or dismount, so that's fine.
And I'll reach down and give Laja 1 point of lay on hands. I have 1 left.
I think that takes us back to Virion.
Okay, Virion is just gonna keep doing what's working. So back to the longbow. Oh my
That'll hit.
God. Where were these rolls the rest of the campaign?
Yep, 17 hits also. This thing has a very low AC.
Okay. I guess that would make sense. And then some more penguin action. And they'll just swarm around the antler area, trying to dismember those off of them.
And your shots are definitely having an effect on this thing. It's kind of spinning around and making all sorts of strange noises and going crazy, especially as the penguins are pecking at it. And it seems to ignore Rorgar as he's bringing Laja back up. It does glance occasionally at the fire that's burning off in the corner. So the moose, on the moose's turn, it's actually going to take some stabs at Suzanne here. So first with its antlers, it rolls an 11, which I know is a miss. And then twice with hooves, a 25 and an 18. So for Suzanne, that's a total of 18 bludgeoning and 8 cold. But she does have immunity to cold, so that's just 18 bludgeoning. Taking us to Laja.
Well, I didn't like it attacking me, so I'm just gonna attack it straight back. Why not? Okay, guys.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Well, here I am, having tried to hit a giant moose. You know what? Maybe I'm just not tall enough to hit the moose square. It's fine.
Guess if that's it for Laja, takes us to Suzanne.
I think what Brad would probably have her do is try to attack again. So I'll just roll that.
Also, well, another crit. Sure. Can't go wrong with that. I was going to say Suzanne does still have her breath weapon. She can only use it once, a long rest, but she hasn't used it yet.
Oh, true. But, I mean, let's just take the crit. Why not?
Okay.
That makes up for me not doing anything.
Yeah, so a huge bite attack from Suzanne. The moose seems a little frantic, but it's still darting glances back at the fire that's burning off in the corner. Just in time, Brad. It's Rorgar's turn.
Suzanne got a second critical in a row.
She did.
Yes, she did.
What's the situation here?
So Suzanne has taken some damage. You brought Laja back up. You guys are chipping away at the moose. It's still looking at that fire that's burning off in the corner, but it spent all of its turn attacking Suzanne and kind of ignoring you other two. They're in melee range.
Can you show me where that fire is? Because I was really zoomed in when you were showing us the first time.
It's like right there.
Okay. I think Rorgar just has to... I'll move to here. Would that give me flanking with Suzanne?
Yeah, it would.
Okay. And then I'll make 2 weapon attacks.
I believe with advantage, that 26 is a crit. Yeah. Uh, 15 hits. And as you drive your battle axe around for the second time and you strike the moose, it pauses for a moment and then just quickly vanishes into nothing.
Rorgar will clutch at his chest where his holy symbol is underneath his armor to make sure it's still there. What? Viri and Laja, what was that?
I wish I knew. But at least it's gone now.
And do we see is there an actual flame on that building, or is it just oil?
It was oil that never actually touched the building because when it fell off of its post on the corner of the building, it just broke and splashed into the snow. And really, as you see it, as the oil is burnt up, the fire is almost completely gone. But Laja, if you can give me an insight check, there's maybe something you could figure out about this situation. All right. So what you kind of put together some pieces here. So this thing, you've seen something like it before. When you guys were out in the snow a long time ago, you saw something that looked like this. It was a person that, at least the clothes of a person walking, and then, like its body was just made out of light. And it behaved in the same way as this thing. And you remember it was just kind of shambling across the ice, and then as soon as it saw you, it made straight for you and attacked you. And it seems the moose sort of did the same thing. And you've heard rumors about people dying on the ice coming back, and that could be something here. But then you start thinking more and more, and you think about the nature of the sacrifices that happen here on the new moon. And there's the 3 sacrifices you've heard lots about. The first is food, and then warmth, and then people. Like, they will sacrifice people. The 3 things that all of those have in common is they have heat of some kind. Like, the meat is usually sort of fresh. Warmth, all of the towns cut off their heat that are, sacrificing warmth. And then the ones that are sacrificing people, of course, the people are warm. And no one knows what happens to those things because they disappear on this night. And then the Marshal Eds also said something about these things wandering in the snow that he was worried about. So you realize that these things might all be related, that it's very likely these creatures that are probably dead things that came back because this moose you just killed, you'd killed it before, are probably drawn to heat. So what that means is why the people disappear when they're the sacrifice and why the food disappears is it's probably these things that are going after them. And why they're avoiding towns that sacrifice warmth is because there's no warmth. What this all means is as these towns are evacuating, what happens is you're going to have more places for these things to come out and go after because there's going to be more people around, not to mention the towns that are being destroyed, like Tourmaline that's on fire. It's going to attract them.
Well, that doesn't bode well for the people who are currently running away. And I will obviously relay that information to the others.
Do you think we could maybe somehow use this to fight the dragon? Maybe if we can attract the mechanical dragon to a large bonfire of sorts, maybe we can have help from these spirits?
I mean,
But Suzanne
it's as good
says,
an idea of anything.
that one is cold though, Mother. It has no warmth.
But I think it was looking for warmth. That's why it came to us.
I think she might have meant the dragon.
Yes. Dragon is cold.
Yeah, she's been calling the dragon the cold one.
Damn it. Sorry, Suzanne. Rogar has taken many blows to the head today.
Well, since it seems that Guardian isn't going to get up anytime soon, we might as well rest here before heading out to Brunshander.
Yes, and hopefully Brunshander is still standing when we wake up. But alright. We are, I hate to say, useless in our current state.
All right, so it sounds like you're all going to go. Oh, go ahead, Aja.
We might be a little bit useless, but we'll figure something out.
What I was saying is it sounds like everybody's going to go to take a long rest. That's what you guys want to do, right? Not a short rest, but a long one.
Yeah, Tyler, were you trying to do something there?
No, I think long rest is probably what I could go for, but it won't do anything yet. So
Gosh.
It's probably good for you as long as you guys can get one in. Then I can find a way to trudge along.
Give me one moment. Let me look something up real quick. You know what? Do you have exhaustion right now? I don't think so. No. Never mind then. I don't think that this will be useful. However, for anybody who forgot, we have a potion of vitality. It's just not useful to him right now.
Amazing.
So, Guardian, yes, you do have potions.
Yay!
We have a potion of radiant resistance and a potion. That's a word. Potion of vitality. But those aren't what we're looking for.
You also have a silk dress and a very nice headpiece. So you could look fabulous.
Do we know what chest we took? 'Cause I know we took the gold one for sure, but like, what were the other two? Like, we haven't really decided on them since we were limited.
Did we take the ones that just had like the most value?
I know I took the gold one. I know there's a cloak that someone could wear, so that still frees up another chest we can snag. But
The
yeah,
thing is, I would end up breaking the cloak eventually.
Was that the I can't remember how you pronounce it, but we have it in the items in Roll20, the Powafwi.
Sounds good. It's basically the Cloak of Elvenkind, just the Dark Elf version.
Oh, okay.
But to give you guys some context, it's about 9 p.m. So if you take an 8-hour long rest, that means you'll come up about 5 a.m. in the morning. That does put 8 hours more on the clock of the dragon doing whatever it's going to do. So before we go into that, just want everybody to confirm that that's cool. That's what we want to do.
I think it's kind of what we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get any further than we did here.
Okay.